I think that for me, I mean, ironically, the library was one of the first fiber, not optically networked places, so I had the internet very early on, which was quite an advantage. But I also think that working at the library made me realize that that the answer is out there somewhere. You know, I'd be given these projects, and you don't have to know everything yourself already. I'm sure that they can attest, like them just starting embarking on their first restaurant. Like, you don't know the answers. You got to jump in there, no matter how much education you have, and you got to learn these things. And the answer is out there. And if you work collaboratively and you go in search of answers and you find inspiration, you'll get there. But you don't have to start by knowing everything.
Well, I have a business degree, and I think the thing that I've realized, especially since we started our own firm, is that 90% of what we do is run a business. There's 10% of it is creative and inspiring and fun, but a lot of it is just getting things done and being organized. And having the background that I do in finance, and I had a banking job, that's been really helpful because our projects are huge and there's so many things that go into them. And being able to organize all of that and give the information to a contractor in a really concise way has been a huge, huge help.
I would say that for anybody out there as well, that's such a huge asset, because typically we're such right-brained individuals that I would suggest that most designers don't succeed, not because they don't have talent, but because they have actually no ability to run a business. And I can speak from that firsthand, that, you know, if you have that asset like Chad does, that you are really far ahead of a lot of designers, because that's a really important element to actually make this a career. So make sure that you're aware that you know, if you're actually going to start out on your own and you're going to take this on, that you really have to be balancing that creative energy with the discipline of you know, being business minded.
So it's not just fun all the time.
It's fun a lot of times.
Yeah, of course. What would you guys say are some of the biggest challenges you've had in your career, or, you know, any moments when you were kind of like, wow, this is a learning moment, you know?
Lots. A lot.
Every project we learn something new. That's the best thing about this industry, is that you never stop learning. You're constantly being challenged. There's just so much to learn with being a designer, especially an interior designer, because there's so many facets to an interior. And then you get to learn about the exteriors too, because you work with architects and it's just contractors, and it's just so many people coming into one project that it's a great career.
And with all due respect, if there's any clients out there, clients can be the biggest challenge of all, I would suggest. I mean, you're dealing with all different personality types, and if you're dealing with somebody's home, it's a very emotional connection. And so, you know, I've had people cry and get really upset, and you know, it's an intimate relationship that you end up with, and so it can be quite challenging. And there can be, just like in life with anybody that you come in contact with, there can be people that you connect more easily with, and people that is really hard to connect with, and really hard to find that connection and to get that trust and that group.
I think one of the toughest things that I came across as I was starting to learn about design, and when I was working with Robert Bailey, was that interior design projects last a really long time. It's not a quick learning process, because a project, one of the projects that I had started working on with Robert right at the beginning, it took 4 years before it was finished. So we were doing the initial meetings with clients and coming up with initial concepts, but it wasn't until 4 years later that you can kind of see the realization of how those beginning few meetings went with the client. And I think that was a huge challenge in just wrapping my head around the fact that it's going to take a long time to learn things. And I think one of the other challenges that I think we would all face having our own businesses is that because the work is project-based, from a business perspective, it's the worst kind of business you can have. It's something that's one-off, it's completely custom, and you can't repeat it. So we're not manufacturing something where we can figure it all out and then just pump it out and keep making money and go on vacation. if we're not working on our projects, no one's working on our projects. So figuring out the ebbs and flows of being really, really busy at certain points in the project and then being a little bit slower, that's a huge challenge. And if any of you are looking at going into your own business, that would be something to think about ahead of time before you make the initial leap.
So what was the turning point in each of your careers when you kind of knew that you'd made it, or like you were at a point where, wow, this is something that I continue and that I want to keep doing?
Are we there? 12 years later, I think my parents are still asking me if this is actually my career. Yeah, no, it's I think that, I hope for everybody out there that you find something in this, that you find your groove in this, because there's so many different aspects of interior design that you can take on. And so sometimes where you start and where you end up can be quite different. And so I hope for you that you find the thing that speaks to you, and you get that, you do have that aha moment where you realize that things are rolling along and that projects are coming in, and that instead of just fearing for your livelihood all the time, that you recognize that you actually are making a living at this.
We have actually some of your projects if you want to...
oh, wow, here they are.
If you want to kind of scroll through and show people.
All right, so if we're going to move on to this. This is the Morrissey pub, which is down on Granville Street. And this was a really, sometimes you just get those great, it's just like the perfect storm. You get the great client, you get the great project, and it's a lot of fun. And so this was one of 2 projects that we did for the Douglas Brothers. And so, I won't go into the details about the project so much, but to say that, the basis of this was, they didn't want anything that looked new. They wanted the whole thing to look like it had evolved over 100 years. So it's actually can be amazingly difficult to make everything look old. So that was the nature of this particular project. So that was a really fun one. And I don't know if I've got, oh, no, we're going to go on to something completely different. So this was an award-winning project for us. And again, you can just see the diversity of kind of what's going on here. So a bathroom in which we did a LED wall panel. And for those people that care, there are 24 karat gold tiles in the background there. So, and this project here was a lot of fun for me, but not for the contractor, who had to pull 90 LED lights through that CNC cut wall. It's hard to see, but that wall there has all little crystal LED lights, and the contractor was just so kind that he entertained all my creative ideas, and I just succumbed to whatever needed to happen to make it a project successful. This is Seth Rogen's bathroom. So this was again, just a really fun project where we were just told to do the creative part more than anything else. And so we wanted some color in there. So why not a chartreuse bathtub with red taps and blue tile? Why not? So a lot of reclaimed materials in this one. A lot of fun. Again, the underlying theme of this whole project was a lot of recycled and reclaimed. And then I just wanted to challenge myself even a little bit more, so I had to throw in another twist, was to have everything be as local as possible, so trying to source a lot of local stuff. So these are all old pop crates from now extinct pop company out of BC. So we turned that into their wine bar. And there's their kitchen. So with this one, we actually recycled the old kitchen and put in new glass, and obviously it was not turquoise when we started, so we got it painted. So, and again, just another shot of the Arbutus residence. So just showing the diversity, I would say.
Yeah, I was going to say, it looks like there's quite a range, of style, but you can kind of see throughout that it's your work. Yeah. How do you develop that, or but still be able to have these a little bit more industrial or a little bit more modern, or
Yeah, I mean, some people have like a really distinct style. I don't think I do. Maybe I do, and I don't know it. Really what I try to do is really sort of almost meditate on what I think that the client would want, and sort of really try to interpret that, because for me, I'm happy to really change gears with every project and try to invent something quite different. And so it's just really about trying to capture what you think. Yeah, that's right. I think that's, and there's another one. So, you know, now we'll go back to Falken Reynolds. Let's get on to that.